Greetings, Beatitudes Society. My name is Van Jones. I am on my way to Washington, D.C. I am the proud founder of Green for All, as well as the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights and Color of Change. I am changing my role. I am going from having been an outsider in the not-for-profit world and the advocacy world to now being something of an insider in government and in the White House for Barack Obama. I will be the special advisor for green jobs, enterprise, and innovation. And I am looking forward to carrying out those duties for him and for the country and for our movement. But that is a career description, job title, resume description. It doesn't describe the journey that I've been on. And it doesn't capture the transformations that I've gone through at a spiritual and personal level to make this transition possible. These kinds of transitions are usually the outcome of transformations, and those are not public but private. So I would just like to share with you the importance of, I think, the work of Beatitudes and other organizations that are trying to move forward a spiritually grounded, spiritually relevant social change agenda. Is certainly something that I have been proud to be associated with. But in my own life, I was born and raised in the rural South. I grew up on the edge of a small town in rural West Tennessee. I grew up going to church and listening to the gospel music and reading about all the saints. And I also noticed, though, in every black church I went to, there was always these three saints that had funny clothes on. They didn't have the robes. They had on jackets and ties. In the basement of every church, it was Bobby Kennedy and Jack Kennedy and Dr. King. And I couldn't quite figure out the connection as a child. I remember fanning myself. I was born in '68. I remember fanning myself in a church one time. There was a campaign, a fan from the Bobby Kennedy campaign, '68. And looking at Bobby Kennedy and trying to understand the connection. But I say that because even as a young person, I saw this connection between political change and my faith. I noticed that Bobby Kennedy and Jack Kennedy and Dr. King were in every church basement as this kind of interesting trilogy. I noticed that whenever we heard about Dr. King and heard about social change, it was always in the context of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, as we called him. And that even as I got older and I watched the videos and the films and all that kind of stuff, the same gospel music I grew up with was undergirding those rallies, those protests, those marches. So for me, there's always been a seamless connection between social change and faith. I think what didn't happen for me until later in life, though, was the relationship between inner change and social change. I mean, it's one thing to know the songs and to know the scriptures and be able to relate those to the changes you want on the outside in society. It's something else to understand that journey on the inside. And it was in my later years, after having fought for justice for a long time and having burned myself out on that, that I returned to some of my faith roots. And one of the things I think is most important for people to keep in mind is that the challenge I think that most social change activists have had for at least the past 40 years, since King and Bobby were killed, is that we've gotten so good, as Julia Butterfly says, at defining what we're against, that what we are against has come to define us. So we're now the anti-war, anti-racist, anti-sexist, anti-everything movement. And over time, when you have just defined yourself negatively, negative things begin to happen and begin to accumulate in our movements and in our personal lives. And I went through that. And it took me a while to come to the point of saying, I need to be able to say what I am for. I need to be able to declare to myself, if I'm going to keep doing this work, if I'm going to keep getting out of bed every day, if I'm going to keep seeing people who have been to more funerals than they've ever been to graduations, if I'm going to keep in this work, I have to at some point be clear, what am I standing for? What is the outcome that I seek? And for me, that was a profoundly spiritual journey. And it meant that I had to give up a lot. I had to give up the cheap thrills of pointing my finger in the face of every authority figure I could find. And sometimes having to sit down across the table from a mayor or a corporate leader to try to find common ground. It meant I had to give up some of the friends that I had who felt very comfortable remaining in the role of opposition and keeping their fists clenched, demanding power or demanding change. I had to open my hand up and sometimes reach across. And sometimes when you open your hand up to make new friends, you lose the friends that you started out with. That's very painful. And in that middle passage, that middle journey between the life that I let go of, which was based more on the politics of confrontation, and into this life that's been more, less opposition, more proposition, I found God. I found a different kind of connection with the Creator. We can sometimes distract ourselves with a lot of meetings and a lot of busy work and a lot of conferences and all that kind of stuff based on whoever you happen to start out in politics with. But when those people go away for whatever reason and you're just left with yourself, there's an opportunity for a real opening, an inner opening to the Creator within as well as the Creator without. And I'm proud to say that over the past 10 years, my spiritual evolution, my deepening faith, my deepening relationship with the Creator has helped me to be open to new ideas, new solutions, new answers, new proposals for how we can move things forward. And it is my hope that those of you who are part of the Beatitudes community, those of you who are supporting Beatitudes, will not just see Beatitudes as an entity over there to write a check to or to go through an internship with, but will take that spirit of the Beatitudes into your own life, into our movement. The Beatitudes, in terms of Jesus's declaration about who we are to be, is just as relevant now as it was 2,000 years ago, and probably more urgently important now than at any other time. We're either going to turn to each other or we're going to turn on each other as we move through these next years and decades where the economy and the environment may be more challenging. The opportunity to open our hand, to let go of old certainties, and to reach out for new community, new opportunity, that is what is available out of a spiritual community. A community that doesn't place its faith in ideological dogmas or political parties or received answers, but places its faith in a deeper wisdom that's available out of a spirit of service, that's available out of a spirit of humility and making oneself available to a higher purpose and a deeper calling. That's what the Beatitudes Society is all about. That's what it is trying to reintroduce to American politics and to the progressive Christian faith tradition. And that is a tradition that I most associate with my own journey from a child. Bobby Kennedy, Dr. King, and Jack Kennedy in the church basement, and on the fan that I used to fan myself with as a child in church, all the way to this present day. So I thank the Beatitudes Society for bringing back some of the best of the progressive Christian faith tradition, and I thank you for being a part of this journey. My great hope is that the transformation in society that we are seeking to bring back the economy, to green the economy, and the transformation in politics that we seek to get past the old divisions of class and color and ideology will be accelerated and deepened by the spiritual transformation that Beatitudes represents. Thank you.